What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Black Buddha. And not so long ago, somebody asked me a question on how I overcame my depression. Excuse me, or during the time that I was going through a very rocky road a couple of years ago. Mentally, I was going through a rocky road a couple of years ago that led me to a full-blown depression. You know what I mean? And what I mean by full-blown depression, I was very self-destructive. A couple of years ago, I was very self-destructive, and I was very suicidal too, which is two horrible elements to mix in with each other if you don't know how to tame it accordingly. You know, I remember a couple of years ago, like, I was going through this mojo of just fantasizing on how to kill myself, basically. You know, on top of that, while I was going through all of that, I was also on my own trying to figure it out as well. I couldn't really go to anybody, or I mean, I could have probably go to somebody, but I just felt as though they would give me the same generic response that everybody gives me. That same response of like, random ass fly. It was that same response of like you know, everything is okay. You know, everything is alright. Everybody has bad days, but that's not really a good answer to give me personally, because it's not really helping out at all. You're not giving me a method or a scientific method to overcome this depression that I'm going through right now, or this rabbit hole that I like to call it. You're not giving me nothing at all to even work with. So I was about what, like 16, 17 years old. I was still in high school during this time. And when I was going through loneliness and feeling misunderstood, also falling a victim to the gossip that people that people have a bad habit of doing. I also had to consistently, you know, clear my name and go through everyday life, obviously, but also it was very difficult for me to even learn a lesson out of it, or even you know, move on from it, because of not only the gossip, but nobody's giving me a scientific solution to how to even overcome it in the first place. So throughout years of just, you know, going through the same mojo, going through the same issues, it became worse and worse and worse to a degree where I couldn't handle it anymore. And I was literally fantasizing on how to kill myself. You know what I mean? And it was very wicked, you know, because my mind during that time, I just felt like, you know, just not only doing that, but also harming other people as well. I was getting tendencies of you know, robbing other people or shooting other people, you know, basically hurting other people, basically. And it wasn't a good couple of years, because I've been going through that same mojo for years. So imagine, years of just going through that. It feels like eternity, which is in reference to one of my poetry called Heaven and Hell, where I say that, you know, heaven and hell is a state of mind. You know, understand what I'm saying? So one of the things that helped me to overcome it was accepting things for what they really are. That's one of the key words within this video, is acceptance. You know, once you understand that you can't control everything, you know what I mean? You can't really control everything that happens, but then again, you could control everything that happens. You know what I mean? Because how you respond to certain situations, that's your own control. That's your own version of control. And then also what happens outside of your control, you just can't do nothing about it, which is also another reference to the art of balance. of duality. I w- I wouldn't really say duality, but I would just say balance, the art of balance for now. And once you start to understand that everything has a balance, everything has a principle, everybody and everything that happens around you is either for the progression of who you are, excuse me, for who you are as a person, or the progression or degression. You understand what I'm saying? Like, of who you really are as a person. You know what I mean? And, you have to make hard decisions of just, cutting things off and be honest with yourself and just admit that, you just don't do certain things. Like, back then I used to love going to bars and going to lounges and going to parties and shit, usually by myself on my dolo stuff, But after a while, I've noticed that it wasn't doing nothing for me. Damn, random ass fly. It wasn't really doing nothing for me after a while. You know what I mean? I was just going through these places to basically feed my ego, basically. You understand what I'm saying? And it wasn't really no fun. I would waste so much money, and I would waste time. And then at the end of the night, I would look at my bank account and I'll look at my time account and I'll say to myself, damn, look how much money and time I wasted on just doing something to basically satisfy others as opposed to satisfying myself. So that's one thing that I had to keep in mind, or be mindful. That's another key word, is to be mindful of, that you can't really continue to go through life with this bad habit of trying to impress or trying to satisfy other people's. You do it. I don't know. People do it every day, I guess. People do it every day. Your regular 9-to-5 jobs, you're already doing that. For your managers, you're trying to impress your managers, or you're just trying to get the work done, and you're just trying to, do what you gotta do, or you do it with your partner, with your relationship partner. So you do it every day, but the whole method is to never abuse anything. Just have respect for all the principles that are in this life that comes to you and leaves, to eventually come back to you, which is in reference to building and destroying to rebuild once again. You understand what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it. Depression to me is just the outcome of overall everything, from your environment to how you handle certain how you handle situations, and how you handle relationships, and how you handle everything, and your perspective of everything. Depression is basically the overall state of mind of all the consistent destructions from different degrees. And the word that's associated to degrees is levels. So, people need to understand that and be mindful of all the different levels of destruction that you not only that you put within your body, but you also put within your mind as well, which is overall gives you a response of things like, you feeling sad, or you feeling lonely, and all of these other symptoms that's associated to depression, And if you ask me on my state of mind right now, I love life. I love life right now. Like, man, every time I go outside, I just appreciate everything. I try to appreciate everything. And when I get bad days or bad situations, I always be mindful. Again, another key word is I always be mindful of what I could learn from this bad situation. And also in reverse, I also try to understand what I could learn from a good situation. And once you have that mindset, you know what I mean? Once you have that mindset of just understanding the good and the bad within the good and the bad, then you'll be all right. You know what I mean? You'll be all right with everything, with how you handle everything, with how you look at life itself. You understand what I mean? And once you, just like with a diet, you know, if you continue to eat foods that raises a higher consciousness within yourself, you know, to its highest potential, then your body will start operating good. Your body will start, you start to get more energy. You start to, you know, feel different. You start to, you know, how you absorb outside outside energies and outside information. It will be more clearer now. It will be more understood and more fluent, as opposed to when you have consistent garbage within your body. You tend to be a little bit more destructive, depending on your your biological structure, you know, and also your structure as well within the mind, body, and soul. You understand? But for me, it was, you know, eating right, eating as less meat as I possibly could. No candies, no sodas, no liquor, even weed, for example. Like, I used to smoke a lot of weed back then, but, you know, weed for me now, I don't really need it. You know what I mean? I don't really need weed like how I thought I did back then, which was one of the reasons why my depression became as bad as how it did, because I was consistently trying to adapt to what I call mood switches, or environment, just mood switches. You know what I mean? Like, once you're feeling a certain type of, you know, once you're operating and feeling and thinking a certain type of way, while you're operating regularly, that's one mood, and that's one operation that you need to be, you need to adapt, you need to get used to it. But once it switches, when you start, like, to me, every time I start smoking weed, especially in public, my mood switches. And not only that, I have to adapt to that type of mood that I'm in right now, which is a different type of mood. I also have to deal with the anxiety that comes with it as well. You know what I mean? Which also gives me anxiety, because I can't really be like that. I always have to be on my P's and Q's. That's how I gain more confidence within myself. Is when I'm on my P's and Q's every single day and every single moment, until the moment that I fall asleep, and then to restart the same thing over and over again tomorrow. You know what I mean? Which is also in reference to, you know, just being grounded, just being solid, basically. You know what I mean? Just learning how to be more solid, as opposed to accepting you being loose, basically, you know, for lack of a better word. So it's just stuff like that, you know. Everything to solve your depression has to do with a lot of the external and internal. You know, how are you managing your mind, body, and soul? You know, how are you managing it? How are you, what are you doing to make your mind, body, and soul more at peace, as opposed to more in the destructive side? You know what I mean? Like, the body carries toxic as well. You know, it's not all healthy, and you know, the biological structure of a body also carries toxic as well, or acid, you know. But that it doesn't harm you, because that's just part of the flow of life. You know, the flow of life has positive and negative, which is another video that I wanna get into, talking about the positive and negatives of everything. Once you start to understand that everything has a positive and everything has a negative, every good and bad thing has a positive and a negative, then you will come to be more, you will see yourself being more accepting to to everything that, you know, comes your way. And that's all it really is. It's just, you know, how you manage your body. You gotta treat your body like if it's a company. You know what I mean? You have to remove certain people that is destroying your company, and you have to add people that would, you know, further your company to being better, to being great. You know what I mean? As above, so below, and that's all it really is. It's just the understanding of that, just the understanding that, you know, everything works out the way that it works out. Everything is the way that it is, you know, and it's up to you. It really is up to you to go ahead and do it, because I can't really tell you. I could tell you a lot of advice, and I could tell you a lot of things to do and what not to do, but, you know, it's only up to you whether you want to accept it or not. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, even in the movie The Matrix, even Morpheus told Neo the same thing. Like in the first Matrix movie, where he told Neo that I could only show you the doors, but you have the keys to open it. As above, so below. That's the same thing. You know what I mean? And that's another thing too that people need to be mindful of, is that even within movies, you should attempt to try to find the main reason or the main message of a movie. Because what people need to understand is that you might see a movie like King Kong, for example, and you would think that is fictional, which it is fictional, but another perspective that you need to take in is that there are human beings producing and creating the movie, writing the movie. You know, this is how we're gonna say things. This is how, you know, King Kong is gonna act, and this is what he's gonna do, and, you know, all the other good stuff. Like these are human beings with the same mind, body, and soul thoughts that is producing the movies. So there are good movies that will teach you something, and there are some movies that have agendas behind it. You understand what I mean? And that's what it really is. Like, that's what really helped me, you know, get through my depression. It's just the acceptance of all of that everything that I just said. It's just the acceptance of, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's your boy Black Buddha, Mind Over Matter.